Hey, folks. Pat and I just wanted to share with you before we jump into the episode today that this is a very mental abuse, sexual abuse oriented episode where we talk about rape, how it happens in Next Generation, and also how it happens in the modern day here today. It's a very real issue, very serious, and we might be talking about some things that are triggering to you, and we don't want to put you in a bad spot. So we just kind of wanted to give a friendly warning that we will be talking about assault, both mentally and sexually, here in this episode. So
yes, the topic is serious. Our conversation does not go that deep, but the word rape does get said quite a lot in this episode. We just wanted to let viewers know, or let listeners know, that that was something that if they choose to listen to the episode, that they will hear. Hello, and welcome to the 12th episode of the 5th season of Star Trek Next Generation, which we are covering here on Next Generation's First Generation, a Star Trek Next Generation watch-along podcast. I am your host, Patrick Delmore, and with me, as always, is Sascha Shouty.
hello, everybody.
And today we are covering the episode Violations, one that I remembered the beginning of and the characters from, but I think I skipped it on many a rewatch. And on the one hand, I'm glad that I did because I didn't remember a whole lot about it and really enjoyed watching it for the podcast. But on the other hand, I'm sorry that I did because it meant that I missed seeing something that was as good as this episode is.
Well, I do know that this is a Troy episode.
Yeah.
This is also the episode that threw a lot of people thinking that Gene had put Patrick Stewart in a toupee for a practice shoot, which is not the case. This is, but we'll get to it when we get to it. And without further ado, please sync up your devices. 5, 4, 3, 2, and play.
All right. Of course, it's taken me a second to get it loaded.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, these last couple episodes I've been like that far behind sync, but here we go. They are taking some passengers with them who are also have psychic abilities, and this is kind of cool because we get Rosalind Chow completely absent of Colmini in this episode.
Very rare thing.
Yeah.
And they're searching her mind for a memory with her grandmother, if I remember correctly.
This guy, I haven't seen. I mean, I probably have seen him in a lot of stuff, but he just looks like somebody who gets typecast as the coach that is a jerk to the main character.
Yeah. He kind of looks like a jerk. I
know. It's like, oh, I wish I could do a pull-up. Pull-ups are for winners, son.
Oh, this is almost like a virtual reality set in your brain.
Well, people claim to be able to do this. But I always thought this was funny that she like accidentally tastes this water that the brushes were cleaned in.
It's not tea at all. This is a common painter's mistake. Don't drink your paint water. Drink your coffee water.
Yeah, I had lead poisoning so bad. My mom always joked I'd marry an Irishman.
Oh.
And then you have...
So this is called guided imagery, by the way, if you're ever curious about it.
So we'll just call this guy Coach Whitey. So Coach Whitey is married to this Yoda woman.
Yes.
And then they have like third guy here who they make apparent right away is going to be the villain of the episode.
Mm-hmm. I believe he's their son, if I remember correct.
Is
And the
he?
act, yeah, and the actor's name that you're looking for, his name is David Sage. And there's the, I don't know if he's a son, but he's definitely a younger member of the team.
Yeah.
He's definitely the villain. His name is Ben Lemon, the actor's name, not
Yeah,
the.
he's not a lemon in this story.
No, not at all. Well,
He's
that
a
haircut's kind of a lemon. So the big thing that they set up here for the premise of the story is that you need to give consent for someone to go into your mind.
Yeah.
And because obviously if you're a telepath, going into someone's mind is basically rape. It's an unwanted violation, hence the name of the episode.
Yes.
Which makes me wonder what the attitudes towards rape culture then, when it came out, towards now in relation to the episode.
Do you mean in
just how it's accepted in society? Because a lot of times, I mean, even still now, we tend to blame the victim, and not so much the predator. But one thing that I do like about in Star Trek is that they pretty much identify the predator from the very beginning as being, the bad guy, and you have to get the bad guy. And it was only our most vulnerable people that got hurt, which is still kind of backhanded shaming, is like,
yes,
even the strong people can be violated.
Because what would have been a problem is if they had said that this could only have happened to Troy because she has, telepathic abilities, and the episode was about her finding out that yes, he was doing it to other people, but it wasn't as obvious that he was doing it to other people.
True.
Because they aren't psychic like she is.
So this episode came out when? January 27th, I think?
January 27th, so I had just turned 10.
Yeah, that's right, 1992, January 27th. Hey, look at that, I remembered something. You're a 10-year-old! Congratulations! Do you even remember watching this when you were 10?
I do. I remember the opening really vividly because my mom was an Asian art major, and I don't remember when the movie The Joy Luck Club came out, but Rosalind Chow was in that movie. My mom was a big fan of that movie, and so the whole paintbrush thing, and the paintbrushes, she's not a painter, she does kanji writing, right? Is what the paint's for.
Yeah, kanji is a type of script, like
the brush is for doing kanji. And so that
you're thinking calligraphy brushes. Joy Luck Club came out the next year in 1993. Okay. So Keiko isn't quite there yet.
But I like she gets first guest star credit in this too, which is pretty cool.
Now here's a nice little data contrasting machine world to biological world of, well, there's the memory. It's embedded in a circuit. You just access it the way you want. And he's kind of baffled that people's memories are elusive. They need to be prompted. They have biases. Jordy's talking about how he doesn't remember a specific birthday, but birthdays are very important. One of my theories on retaining memory, and this is kind of supported by research in multiple sclerosis treatments of all things, is revisiting those memories, repeating, analyzing, processing over the same information so you can keep it fresh.
Well, here's an example of how data is, a remarkable machine. Let's say he was being taught by Dr. Sung to clean his hands. Okay. And Dr. Sung would, let's say, like sing a song to him while he did it. And then one day he needs Data to clean his hands. He doesn't sing the song, and Data just doesn't do it. And he's like, and Data's basically his understanding, because he's a machine, is that part of that experience is this song is being sung to me. Now, a human could compensate for that. A
Mhm.
machine couldn't. It would actually have to be reprogrammed.
Well, the machine would have to be, it would need an if then statement written into it.
Yeah,
If I am washing my hands, then I must sing a song.
yeah,
Or vice versa. Like both could be true. So all of a sudden you have to go into problem solving equations. Whereas we might sing a song because it's a fun memory, or the song's just long enough, so we wash our hands the right amount of time, or many other environmental cues can be associated with. So that's kind of the flexibility of being human that Data always gets tripped up on, is that when he encounters the barrier, he needs to stop, process the flaw, and kind of work it in. And if he often goes on saying that he writes a new subroutine for hopping on his left foot spontaneously or something like
yeah.
that. Oh, I'd love to explore some Klingon memories. Klingons do not allow themselves to be
Once
proved.
again, we had this whole episode about they cannot have open flame on this ship. Like literally, an extinction device will drop and put the flame out. But now they're having a candlelight dinner.
Yeah, romantic mode. Here's this guy. He's just shaming everybody into not wanting to share their vulnerabilities, their emotions. He's kind of pushing his bag a little too hard, saying, hey, this is something that I highly recommend that you do.
And the only reason seems to be, I mean, it was good for Keiko because she had something that she was trying hard to remember. But for everybody else, it'd be more of a carnival trick.
True. This guy's really upset. He just got up and left. Yeah. Did we figure out why?
Because he's being told that he's not as good at stuff as everybody else, and he knows it'll get a rise out of Troy.
Yeah. Well, this is the loudmouth patriarch at the dinner table situation.
Totally.
So here she goes. She's feeling empathetic. You can tell the character's kind of into him. She's leaning forward just a little bit with her chin, making good eye contact. And now they're just kind of lulling each other into a sense of security. You know what she did? She referenced her mom. It's like, yeah, my mom is the same way.
The sinister thing about, the violations here is that he would, if he had put in the work, he probably would have gotten to sleep, sleep with her like a regular person instead of doing this mind rape thing.
Right.
The problem is he thinks that what he did is work.
Well, you can work hard. You can work hard on an immoral goal, or you can work hard on a moral goal. So, I don't know. That's the weird thing about sociopaths, is that their intentions may not necessarily make sense to your intentions, where it's not just that they sleep with me, it's that they want to have me to know that I cannot waver from their force, from their personality, and that I'm being completely controlled and manipulated, for example.
Like, rather than go up to you and ask you out, I took the time to figure out where you lived, break in, distract your dog, hide in a closet so you wouldn't know I was watching you.
Oh, there it is. This is the first hint that something's wrong. Whoa. Here's another memory. Oh, it's a memory of her and Will.
Yeah.
Okay,
right
when
we got on board the Enterprise that this happened, that they had some poker.
And then he poked her.
Yeah. Or he was going to. He didn't. I mean, no.
I kind of want to learn more about the situation here, where how does Troy dropping a box full of chips on the ground suddenly turn into Riker throwing her to the floor and them making out? It seems
He
like an
might
odd
not have.
transition.
They might have been having an Imzadi moment, and
True.
our guy found out about it.
Okay, so he's taking an existing memory and altering it for his
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yes.
Now it's very telling that they showed his face right there.
Yeah.
I think they also had to do that to protect the integrity of the Riker character too.
Riker doesn't have too much integrity to protect at this point, but
Well, all of a sudden, I'm reminded of that episode where he was accused of murdering the scientist's wife
yeah,
scientist by blowing up the station, and
exactly.
he was like putting up the "I'm the most guilty person in the room" defense, where he was just discrediting everything rather than calling it how it happened.
Yeah.
And so now you're in a situation where Troy has to talk about, I think Riker raped me, or I had a memory of Riker raping me. I mean, that would be a red flag thing right there in Riker's HR files. Like, oh, well, we had this other instance where.
It would be, but I think that the idea here would be that she would know that he didn't. I don't think she would think that it was a recovered memory.
Well, if it were me, if I were Troy, and I knew I had that beyond friendship, beyond family kind of relationship with Will, I might just ask him flat out, do you remember that night? How do you remember it going down? And then just kind of comparing each other's versions of reality.
Yeah,
but she can't even wake up to talk about it. And I think that's why everybody's so frustrated. They don't know why she went out.
There's a great movie where that is the exact premise, called Tape. It's about going back to a high school reunion and reliving the story of a supposed date that this guy had with somebody back when he was in high school. I think it's like a 10-year reunion. Neat little movie. I think it's based on a play.
All of a sudden, I'm thinking of that Jack and Murray Make a Porno, or whatever the name of that movie was, where they meet up at a high school reunion and everybody just doesn't give a F. And so they're like, yeah, sure, why not? So here Riker is talking to our telepathic friend Jev. That's Brian Lemon. Already he comes out saying, I'm not accusing you, which is code for I'm accusing you.
Yeah, they need to have a better guy at this than Riker. If you have no objections, Dr. Crusher would like to examine you in your group. I don't really know who they could have interrogate him, but it shouldn't be Riker.
No, he should be the last person to really do an interrogation of the heart.
Yeah.
It's nice that they reveal the villain right out of the gate, though, and you have to kind of play the how are we gonna stop this guy? Because go ahead.
I love that Riker doesn't really know any like police tricks or anything. Like, okay, so you were with Troy. Was she acting weird? Did she say anything? She's very sensitive. Like, could you have possibly like unintentionally like touched her weird? Or he doesn't do any of that stuff.
I think that Jonathan Frakes is just kind of get jealous that Troy didn't get a clip show.
Yeah.
Because now the roles are reversed. She's in a coma and he has to talk to her. You could totally pick her nose right now, dude. Just pluck that nose hair out of there. That might wake her up.
Yeah.
Now, we had talked about telepathic rape in the past. And I can't remember which episode it was, but there was a really long conversation had about what are some of the defenses as a telepath to kind of keep that stuff out. Oh, you know what it was? It was that one episode where nobody could sleep, and it was the one moon, two circles.
Oh yeah, the eyes.
Where are you? I mean, that's a violation of a different way, but
kind of. But it's like that's the only way that they can communicate. So they sort of didn't know that they were violating people. This is deliberately injuring somebody for your own pleasure is what the guy is doing.
Now the next question that I would have is, can you bring in any other telepaths that might be on the ship to reach out to Troy?
Of course, there aren't any. Although, what is it? Excuse me, the yawn there. The older couple would be interesting to see what they would be able to do.
So is this a completely fictitious memory, or is this a manipulation of a true memory? Because I don't recall this.
This is a completely fictitious memory. He says later on that all this stuff happened and he doesn't remember any of it.
I always love that Titanic door that comes down.
But it's great because it's like Riker's nightmare is that he screws up in front of Geordi, and then he has Ted Cruz give him shit here. So
no, I think it's more that he killed somebody, which is funny because this is like Riker's thing is his whole training paragraph that he uses when he talks to people is being in command means having to order people to their death.
Yes, but Geordi is technically, even though he's a lieutenant commander, he's still a commander. He has that situation that's going on right there cannot necessarily be made better because Riker is in the room, and that's what he's going through.
Gotcha.
Geordi is the head of engineering. He is able to make command decisions for all of his team. And basically, here's Riker, who happens to be there. He takes control. He's the senior officer, but it's Geordi's there being like, Commander, come on, this isn't happening the way that I would have it happen. On my way, sir. And Ted Cruz for some reason. It really looked like Ted Cruz.
He really did. I had to stop for a sec there. I might have to go back and look up this actor's name.
He was in the guest star list of the opening credits.
Yes. We'll find him. So I'm liking Ben Lemon even more. He was in Die Hard 2, Hot Shots Part 2, Weekend at Bernie's Part 2, as great. New York Cop number 2. I mean, geez, he just comes in second on everything.
The sequels. It's like, oh crap, it's Ben Lemon.
Oh, he's in Liar Liar because he said liar twice. That's 2. And then Counting for Thunder, which is a movie, apparently. 2015. Played Dr. Jim. Nice. So here we go. They're discussing Riker's collapse, which I would have to say that Picard's hair trigger response to someone not answering his call really disturbs me. I mean, what if Riker was sitting on the toilet and was making a lot of grunting noise and he didn't want to have to reply in the middle of, pinching something off?
Yeah. I mean, the worst, the thing before Riker having collapsed is it's like he goes in there and there's some ensign in Riker's bed. He's like, ah.
All right. I want to ask you something here. I know the trope of Worf making a suggestion, and then we say no, we think you're overreacting. Thank you very much. Like the whole thing about Worf is for him to suggest something, and then someone says no. Well, in this scene, Worf asked, "Perhaps we should go into quarantine." He doesn't ask Beverly, the doctor. He just kind of throws a suggestion at Picard. And my first question to all of this was, even if I was Worf, I would probably ask the doctor, "Do you think a quarantine is necessary?"
Yeah.
It's almost like we can't pay attention to that. There's a man talking.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I need to find, I mean, I know where it is. I just haven't listened to it. Gaith McFadden's interview that she did with Michael Dorn. Because I'd like to hear how they work together on Star Trek.
Yeah. I'd have to go back and listen to that. That'd be very nice. All right. Since you're the only person to have undergone a mind probe and not fallen under coma, we'd like to talk to you, Keiko. Hey, where's Miles right now? Actually, Miles and I are the same person. We just trade off sometimes.
Yeah. Like, it takes so long to wipe off all the putty in the shower. Oh, God. Beat red putty.
Keiko, I didn't know you injured your shoulder as well as O'Brien. Oh, yeah, I have the same kayaking program. Oh, that med tech right there looks super familiar, too.
Just a bit, yeah. I don't think that's a med tech. I think that's another doctor.
Well, he's not wearing the nice outfit.
No.
The doctor's thing. Okay, I'm gonna do a little research here. So, Martin, I think was his name. The character Martin. Yeah, that's who he is. Okay, I thought he looked familiar. So, the character's name was Martin. But his name is called Rick Fitz, and he has actually been in the Voyager Year of Hell episode. That's where I recognize him from. It's like that voice, that those eyes, man, those eyes. I think that's what did it. But so yeah, another reoccurring character or actor, I should say.
What's funny is with this new Star Trek, they've got it so you can't, like, there's so much of it that it's very hard to rewatch it.
I don't think I've got time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
thrown at you.
I just ignored the last 4 weeks of Discovery, not because I didn't want to watch it, but because I was watching other Star Trek and I wanted to get my priorities in order.
It's good. It's learned some things from Lower Decks storytelling.
True. There's definitely a lot more soul searching in this new Discovery. I'm at the point right now where Book's planet just got blown up.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to figure all that out. By the way, I think a Boimler-like character would do great on Discovery. We need someone just kind of losing their shit running around on the bridge.
I mean, Tilly could be Boimler-ish.
Mm-hmm. So they're still talking about histamine levels and comas, and that's just this show has gone nowhere in the last 2 minutes. Oh, wait a minute. We have our Patrick Stewart flashback. So the doctor is reliving the moment where they
found out Jack was dead. Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. Picard was supposed to have carried Jack's body to Beverly's front door.
Well, it's a combination of a bunch of memories because he's got. There's two ways of looking at this. One is that this is a bandage on his face from an injury he has, and two is that she's remembering him with the Borg implant still in him.
No, that's not a. Oh yeah, okay. I was gonna say it's like there shouldn't be an implant there, but yeah, it's an amalgamation. Beverly looks really good. I think her hair she looks great with straight hair, to tell you the truth. The bangs are kind of 90s, but
Yeah,
this is nice.
she could have been stationed wherever it is that they are. I
Mhm.
like that they found a new set.
Yeah, it looks like an old bridge set. Though with Picard, so there is this picture where they just took a picture of Picard in a hairpiece for this episode, and then all of a sudden the freaking internet exploded, mislabeling this picture as like an audition photo of Picard
Which
with
is
hair.
weird because like this episode existed. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I did not remember this at all.
No,
At all.
nor did I. It's just kind of like I remember parts of the episode, but I don't remember that scene very
Yeah.
well. Hmm. Not remembering a scene in an episode about memories. Uh-oh. Crusher's passed out. Wait a minute. Medical emergency to Dr. Crusher's office? I mean, can't they just like go around the corner? I mean, they're in sick bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy's making it too obvious. He's just going around assaulting every single person in connection with this investigation. Martin's gonna have to solve the case without the command crew. Doug Wirt played Jack Crusher, by the way.
Nice.
That was him.
Not the same guy, probably, that played him in the episode where Wesley watches the hologram.
It was the same guy.
No way.
Yep, they're able to bring him back. I'm looking at a picture of him in the two scenes, and he does look really different, but it is credited as the same actor. And I can see some similarities here there. I mean, the makeup, the hair, the weird injury lines across his face. Hey, she's awake. Martin did it. Episode's over. She was brushing her hair, and then I don't know.
She just sings I Dreamed a Dream from Les Mis.
Oh, that guy yelling at what's his face, Riker, in the dream. That you called him who?
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, his name is Craig Benton, by the way. Yep.
Craigie boy.
Oh, Greggy boy. He was also in Married with Children, which I could definitely see this guy. Yeah. So they're bringing Troy up to speed, and she looks a little shocked, but not surprised, I guess. We really need a telepathic investigations unit. TPU. So now they're faced with having to talk to this guy about, they're talking to the whole group.
I know, and he does the whole, like, stands up and puffs his face up. What? That's outrageous.
That'd be funny if they, Starfleet handed out how to interact with human guidebooks to pre-planning missions. So before the Enterprise comes, Starfleet has more or less sent this guy a manual in subspace saying, okay, if you're accused of something, here's how you defend yourself. You stand up, puff your chest, and deny everything. That's what initiates the course of just cause to actually prove that you are guilty rather than prove that you are innocent.
What would have been fun in this is if it had been the wife that was the bad guy the whole time.
Been the what?
The wife. She had been like something.
Oh yeah, no, that would be intriguing.
The mind witch, and she likes to insert this other guy into these scenarios.
She's the witch from Brave.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, her name is, what is her name? Eve Brenner. Inad is her name. And Eve is also a Star Trek veteran,
Oh,
by the
nice.
way. Yep.
The original series.
Uh, let me look.
He played Kirk's sexy girlfriend, who barely, who not even 30 years later is now turned into a Yoda.
Right? I could see her, even with that hairdo, I could see her in one of the old timey red Starfleet outfits, you know, with that was more like the formal jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, she was in Voyager. Okay.
Oh.
In the episode Remember, that's where I know her from. And I think the episode Remember, ironically, is a version of this story. And I've been thinking about that episode before recording. Is that so? Here you have an instance where telepaths are using their powers to either expose or cover up a crime. Whereas in Remember, you had the telepaths that were concealing the fact that they conducted genocide to get rid of people who were Luddites, more or less. And here it's rape. So go figure. You put that on your Star Trek acting resume. Okay, these are the plot arcs I've worked in. I'm really good as villain number 3.
I excel in the bottle show. Remember that episode of Star Trek Next Generation where something didn't feel right?
He's that guy. Here we go, going through the books.
Oh, also the one where they uncover a conspiracy. Wrote that one too.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. So if you have any other doubts, bring it up now. So I guess what they're gonna do something to Troy. Is she going to? Oh, that's right. Troy's gonna sit down and meet one of these guys to kind of discuss what's happening. Oh, and it's her abuser that's going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh no. These folks had some budget cuts on their robes.
Yeah.
Or they just had very geometrically formed moths.
I like the idea that they had all these Starfleet communicator badges that they were wearing, and they get on the ship. They're like, "Where did you get those?" Found them. They won't take them off. It's really weird. Wear the coat. That's okay.
Now, to show this guy is a total sociopath, I think he's gonna rape her again right here in front of everybody.
I know, literally, someone's touching my hair. Do you think? And I do believe this is an all-male writer episode, but do you think like the writers were like, "Hey, what would make you uncomfortable if you were alone in a room with a stranger? You touched my hair."
Well, as funny as it would be, it was written by 2 women and a guy.
Oh, okay.
Pamela Gray, Sherry Goodarts, and T. Michael. I think T. Michael is. I don't know who T. Michael is. But the teleplay was Jerry Taylor and Pamela Gray, and the story was, I think they elbowed out Sherry. So anyway, here the guy, he's implanting a false memory to cover up his own rapey stuff. So not only does he get to rape Troy again in front of everybody, but he's gonna throw his father's face on it. Who do you see? And then he plants the memory of good old dad. That means he's gonna have to imagine and transplant, fully visualize his dad's O face.
And in trying to make this, rated okay to show on TV, they make this a very nasty scene.
Well,
with the hands and everything.
I guess. There he is.
You were, a little older than me. You were 12 watching this, but still, I wouldn't imagine it would have been a comfortable experience for you.
Okay. There it is. Yeah, it is his father. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also reminded of Seven of Nine, who accused the arms dealer of raping her by taking nanoprobes. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely. I was doing a Voyager rewatch at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think that was a Jerry Taylor episode too. Now that I
Yeah,
think about
that's
it.
since New Trek is back, I've been just watching New Trek.
Oh, there you go.
And this, of course, for our podcasting needs.
And memory invasion is simply not a crime that we've ever had to contend with. So, my next question would be, could they do an extradition treaty? So, I mean, how hard would it be to call up Betazoid and say, okay, what are the crimes for telepaths? What can we hold them against?
You have to write that in when people become member worlds of the Federation, and these guys are not. So
No, they're not.
Laws that they have to subscribe to, but it's it's the common sense thing. You don't violate people like that.
Yeah.
There's nowhere in that where you can go, oh, it was fun for them, or that it was consensual for them. It's like I literally picked a space where they felt uncomfortable and forced them to stay in it.
So it was Jerry Taylor and Pamela Gray who decided on the science fiction twist of mental assault. But they did talk about the approach of rape and the aftermath that folks go through.
Yeah.
How's your search coming? We have uncovered several cases, sir, but we have not yet completed our investigation. We'll inform the medical personnel on those planets that we have discovered the true nature of the comas.
Well, here we go. They're saying their thank you. We figured out where the comas are coming from. We found the guy. There's nothing else we really need. But the data is not going to corroborate the Picard solution, the what he used to arrive at his decision.
Yeah.
I want to know the name of the planet they came from. I got sidetracked. Ilian? What's the name of it?
Right, Ilum, I think.
Ilum. Oh, here we go. He's about to say goodbye and he just can't stop. He can't help himself. I just want to thank you so much for everything that you did.
You're not responsible for what he did. Before all this happened, I had hoped we might become friends.
That's what's even more sinister about it, is that she really does not suspect him.
Maybe you can forget.
No, not at all.
I'm not sure I can.
No. Now this is where she's a little smarter this time.
I have to go.
Is that she can kind of pick out that he's acting off a baseline. If I remember, she kicks his butt too.
Yes.
Which I also like to see. I like to see women kick butt. It's represented. In fact, when I was watching the Discovery episode just the other day, about one or two after Book's planet had destroyed, it occurred to me that everyone making a decision in this series of scenes were all women, and I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, that was good. That was the one with the Navarre.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yep.
And the guys who did have ideas just were kind of like those second, oh no, that's a great idea, but it won't work here, because like you saw some women splaining, which was really nice to see too.
Yeah, well, Star Trek had been very, very gendered for a long time, and it came back, sort of not being that way.
Well, I mean, you had the big raging hormone stereotype of Kirk and Riker.
Well, and Voyager's whole thing was, this is significant because the captain is a woman, and now you have two Star Trek shows where the captains are women, and neither show is about the fact that the captain is a woman.
Yes. I love how Worf just kind of slaps this guy and
Yeah,
he's in custody. But good on Troy. Those were some fighting moves right there. I was surprised. I wonder why she wasn't wearing her comm badge to call for help. ULLINS.
it was a hard day on the old bridge. She probably just turned her comm badge off and put it in a drawer.
Why did Worf walk in there?
They heard what was going on or something.
Oh no, I know what it is. Data figured it out at the last minute.
Right.
And then he just kind of, it's one of those, we figured it out in parallel to you figuring it out, but us showing up to check on you saved your life.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Like, we're so sorry we accused you, Coach Jerk. You should have been above suspicion.
Yeah.
And then to put a cherry on the cake, he says something like incredibly sexist and derivative about all of the women in the room.
This would have never happened if such attractive women were at the party.
No, he's like, in my day, I could have made moves on you all and you would have liked it. Good night.
This also goes into another complaint I have about rape statistics. So the guy said we haven't had a case of one of these in almost 300 years or something like that on our planet. And when you look at rape statistics nowadays, they say there's been more rapes than ever before. And then you have to stop and ask yourself, no, there have been more reported rapes. It could have already been happening. It's just people weren't coming forward and getting it on record.
I still give this one a 4. I think it's a very compelling episode, especially because it had been so long since I watched it. That whole Jack Crusher sequence was really good. It's funny because you have three scenarios that you could focus on. They chose to focus on the Troy scenario rather than the other two. But I think both of the other two are more interesting for story purposes. How Crusher feels about Picard and her husband, and how Riker feels about his ability to command. And we've talked a lot about how there's a lot of implied but never shown animosity between Riker and Geordi.
Oh, yes, definitely. Well, this episode brings up unresolved issues for every person affected. The complication of Beverly and Picard over Jack's death, the on again, off again, at this point, failed relationship between Troy and Riker, which we know they resolved, but still, I mean, that's a big deal. And then, as you say, Geordi and Riker. Though, the Geordi and Riker conflict, I've never really been able to clearly flesh that one out as the other conflicts on the show.
It's a typical workplace thing. It's like when somebody shows up and does something that is a little bit. It's like when Commander Shelby tries to one up Riker. And Geordi's the first one to get on edge about it.
Okay.
It's
Gotcha.
because he's been there.
Gotcha.
And knows how sensitive Riker is.
Well, for that, I would probably agree with you. It's a good 4 out of a 5. This is a really good background illustration issue. This also kind of sheds a new light on the types of assault that there are out there. In the real world, and not just talking about the physical, but the emotional abuse that people can go through, I think are very real. I'm glad that we saw a happy ending where Troy was able to kick butt and basically defend herself. Worf just happened to be there to catch the guy and restrain him.
And
I'm pretty proud of Troy for being so strong and aggressive once she knew what she was looking out for. As for the other victims like Riker and Beverly, I agree with you. You know, the episode had a lot of different directions where it could explore and go into things. We didn't even see how Riker and Beverly responded to or recovered from their assault. If you notice, we didn't see them waking up saying it was that guy. No, it's, for all we know, they could still be in sick bay recovered. Well, with that, I think that this was a very fun episode. We covered a lot of heavy stuff, and I want to say thank you to everybody who listened along. Our next episode coming up, I believe, is the Masterpiece Society. Is that correct?
Another Troy episode, yep.
Yeah! Awesome. 2 good Troy episodes in a row. And I mean that too, because I know we've kind of bashed on Troy for being emotionally frail and vulnerable in the bad ways, but not in this episode, not in the next. So, with that, folks, I want to say have a wonderful day. Music provided by lofigirl.com. Artists include Tenno, Daydreaming, BVG in Mondberg, Insomnia, WYS, Snowman, Be Calm and Banks, Because. Episode cover art created by Matthew Kirschner. Podcast logo and main cover art provided by David Clawwitter. Audio engineering done by Sascha Schaudies